I grew up in the southeast United States, which is probably one of the most religious places in the country. We're often referred to as the Bible Belt by those in other parts of the United States. And while personally I'm not a very religious person myself, I interact with it on a daily basis, both with my family and in the therapy room. I've heard a lot of arguments made against atheism and against other religions, and I want to focus a bit on those arguments that are made against atheists or towards atheists. Really, this is kind of a tutorial on how not to have a debate with an atheist. Atheists are usually open to good discussion and good debate about your religion and their lack of religion and how they feel the way they feel and how you feel the way you feel. And there's a number of ways to approach them, and I might hit on those in the future, but for me, it's more easy to come up with ways on how not to approach an atheist about this conversation. So I did a little research, asked a few people that I'm comfortable talking to about this sort of thing, and came up with several arguments that you shouldn't make against an atheist, and why you shouldn't do that. Number one, and one of the most popular ones that I hear, is that carbon dating is an unreliable method, so there's no way to prove that Earth is 4 billion years old. This is partially true. Carbon dating is only accurate up to about 60,000 years. Beyond that, it becomes unreliable. However, there is an accurate method that has been tested and retested for years to prove its accuracy. Radiometric, or radioactive, dating is a method where they measure the radioactivity of materials that they know are old and how old they are. It's a complex science, but in a nutshell, we know how radioactive materials like uranium are and how quickly they deteriorate. So, based on how much radiation is present in a sample, we can determine how old it is based on how long it would have taken for it to lose that much radioactivity. Debate all you want on the validity of these methods based on biblical accounts and biblical worldview, but they have been proven to be accurate, and that fact cannot be argued against scientifically. Number 2. Atheism is clearly a religion too. Sure, atheism is clearly a religion in the same way that not smoking is a habit, or that sleeping is a medical condition. It is true that atheists are a group of people who have similar worldviews, but that no more makes them a religion than it does to say that cat people and dog people each are their own religion, because they have similar feelings about their respective animals. Number 3. Scientist X or Y believes in God. While some scientists do believe in God, an overwhelming majority of them don't. In 2009, the Pew Research Center for the People and Press polled members of the American Association for the Advancement of Science on belief in a higher power. 51% believed that there could, notice the word there that I used, could, be a higher order to things. But when specifically asked about the existence of any sort of God, only 5.5% said that they believed in God's existence. That means that if you point to a scientist who believes in God, then you've cherry-picked one of the few who do, and you will be picked apart because of the 94.5% of scientists that do not believe in God. Number 4. The United States was founded as a Christian nation. While the U.S. primarily is Christian now, we were not founded as a Christian nation, and here's the evidence why. The Declaration of Independence does mention God, but because that simply separated us from England, it is not a basis for saying that we founded a Christian nation. The Constitution is a secular document written, among other things, to protect the freedom of all religions and beliefs, not establishing Christianity as the official religion. In God We Trust didn't appear on coins until 1864 and didn't appear on paper money until 1957. It also wasn't adopted as the U.S. motto until 1956. Finally, Under God was added to the Pledge of Allegiance in 1954. So, you could make an argument that the United States is a Christian nation now, but we weren't founded as one. There is other evidence as well, but these are the biggest and most easily pointed out reasons that Christians base their reasoning on. Number 5. The human body is too complex to have not been created. This is an argument that at first sounds fairly concrete, but when you think about it, isn't. While humans are the highest order in the food chain, we don't have the most complex bodies, only the most complex brains. Primates have bodies that are almost identical to ours, and can be trained to do the exact same things that people can. Cows have more complex digestive systems, and almost every other creature on the planet produces its own vitamin C. We must ingest ours. Insects have complex detection systems on their antennae that are more sensitive than our eyes. Bats and certain fish have sonar vision, and butterflies have more complex eyes that can see more colors than the human eye. While all of these things are amazing and could be used to craft an argument, Simply stating that because we are so complex there must be a God will not win a debate. We aren't as complex as you may believe. Number 6. But the second law of thermodynamics states... Well, first of all, if you've used this argument, let me ask you a question. What are the other 3 laws of thermodynamics? If you can name them without looking them up, then you probably understand why this argument is invalid. If you can't, then you don't understand thermodynamics enough to even make this case, and shouldn't argue it anyway. The second law of thermodynamics states that the entropy of an isolated system never decreases, because isolated systems spontaneously evolve towards thermodynamic equilibrium, the state of maximum entropy. Christians often use this argument to say that we could not have evolved because we would have hit our maximum potential sooner and not become humans, or we would have used up all of our energy and ceased to exist. However, as I've already said, this only applies to an isolated or closed system. The Earth is not a closed system. Its system extends to space, our solar system, our galaxy, and the larger universe. Perhaps even beyond that. Even if the universe has a finite size, which we don't know yet, the amount of energy required to phase us out of existence or to stop all development is unfathomable. Therefore, this argument is invalid. Number 7. If we evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Assume that some monkeys evolved into humans as part of the evolutionary path, just for the sake of argument. Well, what about the rest of them that didn't? They didn't die off, but simply evolved into other types of monkeys. Making this statement is similar to saying, well, America was colonized by Europe, so why does Europe still exist? Not all Europeans came to America, so they stayed European. Therefore, Europe still exists. Number 8. Science changes all the time, so it can't be trusted. There are 2 parts to this answer. First, this is actually the fact that makes science so trustworthy. All scientific principles are called theories, even ones which are commonly referred to as laws. This is because people understand that any scientific principle at any point can be disproven, refined, or altered to suit a new understanding of something in the community. By making scientific theory this way, it means we can trust that they won't pretend to know it all, and will in fact be open to finding new evidence to lead us to truth. The second part of this. Have you ever gotten medicine for a cold? Or have you ever gotten shots, driven a car, used a phone or computer, eaten at a restaurant, used sunscreen, put on makeup, flown on a plane, drank a soda, or used a microwave? Of course you have. Maybe not all of those things, but truthfully the list is much, much larger than that. Almost everything that we have or use is based in science. Even the Bible is created using a machine that science allows to be developed. You trust these items will do what they're supposed to, and therefore you trust science every day. Number 9. Hitler was an atheist. We don't actually know if Hitler died an atheist or not. There's actually good historical sources on both sides of the argument, and honestly we can't know what he truly believed anyways. We do know, however, that in Mein Kampf, Hitler stated that he was raised Catholic and believes that the Aryan race was created and destined to be the perfect race, meaning that at least at one point in his life, Hitler was actually a Christian. Number 10. You just like sinning so much you don't believe in God. If you get to this point in a debate, you've lost badly, and you're just angry. That statement is a paper-thin stereotype against all non-religious people that isn't true. While there may be some atheists where this is the case, it nowhere represents all of them. That would be the same thing as an atheist saying you're just a Christian because you like sinning and are afraid to face the consequences in the afterlife. It isn't true in most cases, and is very offensive. Number 11. Personal experience with God. Personal experiences are practically impossible to both prove or disprove. They're powerful tools, however, for both witnessing and debating with others. You can't rely on them, though, to change someone's mind or win an argument. Consider this. If someone has had a personal experience where they were abducted by aliens, would you believe them when they told you about it? What if someone is schizophrenic and have the personal experience of hearing voices or seeing things? Does that make those things real? You may say those are ridiculous and extreme arguments, but look at it from the perspective of an atheist. They don't believe in God, so your experience with God would be placed potentially in the same realm as the alien abduction story. It may even make you seem schizophrenic because you see, hear, or feel things that, to an atheist, don't exist. Your personal experiences are yours, and have the most meaning to you. That can be used with those who are willing to believe, or if you're credible in some other way, but in no way are they able to win someone over on their own. The more you play up your personal experience, the weaker your argument becomes. That about wraps it up for this episode of The Psychologist Speaks. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you do, please feel free to leave me a like on this video and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, Gaming Psychologist, signing off.